visiting us, but I expressed to the Consul General that the folks here in our city, while we're not engaged directly in foreign policy as a city, Dallas is a global city. We do have a Ukrainian population here, but even more than that, we consider ourselves to be part of the world community. And what's happened in Ukraine is something that we absolutely condemn as a city, and as our city council demonstrated through a resolution that we adopted recently. We want to do more than express just our moral support for our brothers and sisters in Ukraine and their family and friends that are here in our community. We want to do whatever we could, and what we could do is encourage our business community to sever any financial ties they have with any Russian businesses, and make sure that we weren't doing any business as a government with any Russian businesses, and also to just make it very clear that our sister city relationship with Saratov in Russia was going to be suspended until this aggression ceased. We support the people of Russia, but we do not support the Putin regime, and we want to see this aggression ended. So again, we don't engage directly in foreign policy. This is not a regular occurrence for the Dallas City Council to get this involved in foreign policy, but this matter was important to us. This is a humanitarian issue. This has ramifications, I think, for freedom and democracy around the world, and we're not going to sit idly by where our friends in Ukraine endure this. We want them to know that we stand with them. So that's what I shared with the Consul General, that we will continue to be supportive. The resolution was as much as we could do as a municipal government, but we stand ready to help our friends in any way that we can, and we're really glad you're here today, but we're here for you and we're standing with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wanted, and I thank Mayor Johnson for his leadership, for his moral compass, and supporting Ukraine from the day one, because Ukraine right now, the people of Ukraine, are fighting the pure evil. It's good against evil. It's light against darkness. And thank you, Mayor, being on the right side of history together with Ukraine. You know, the darkest hour is always before the dawn, and Ukraine is living through this dark hour right now. But light always prevails darkness, and Ukraine, together with the friends and partners across the whole world, and such leaders as Mayor Johnson, will overcome and will win this fight for freedom and democracy in the whole world. And we very much appreciate the position the mayor and the city took on the day one, cutting ties with the sister cities in Russia, asking U.S. companies to divest from Russia's entities. And thank you, Mayor, for your support of the Ukrainian community we have here. We have a very active community here in Dallas and generally in Texas. They feel your support. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, sir.
So I don't know if there's any questions or not, but
Mr. Tarasiuk, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, Tarasiuk. Tarasiuk,
Thank
yes.
you so much. There's been a lot of conversation from your president asking for more from the United States and from the West, for planes, for other weapons to help fight. Can you repeat that for us? Is that what your position is from your country?
Certainly. Ukrainians are willing and are fighting in defending their country, their democracy. But not only democracy in Ukraine, we're defending democracy in the whole world. And for that, we need the right tools to do that. That's why Ukraine constantly asks all of our friends and partners to provide us with those tools that we can fight effectively and defend this evil. So yes, we ask for more weapon support for Ukraine. We ask for airplanes, for anti-air systems as well, but just ordinary weapons as well. We ask for assisting Ukraine with humanitarian assistance, because what Russia is doing is a crimes against humanity, and there is a huge humanitarian crisis on the ground. So assistance to the people of Ukraine is also very much needed and appreciated. But also is what the mayor is doing and some other cities and countries are doing, also asking to stop trading with Russia, because all of the trade that's happening with Russia now is fueling Russia's war machine against Ukraine. So if you want to support Ukraine, there is these three dimensions that we ask everybody to follow.
Perhaps you heard President Biden yesterday uttering something about replacing Vladimir Putin. Is that what should happen?
Of course, I mean, it's a war criminal, and Ukraine, well, we record all of those war crimes against humanity, and all of those responsible, and Mr. Putin himself will have to answer for the crimes that they've committed in The Hague.
General, let me ask you about folks. Are you meeting with any Ukrainian community members here in the city of Dallas or in North Texas today? And if you have already, what have they told you and what are you telling them?
Of course, we're here in Dallas since yesterday. So yesterday we attended a service at the church, Ukrainian church here in Dallas. I spoke to the community, so we feel the support of, and they feel the support of a city here. And of course, they're doing a great job in collecting humanitarian assistance and sending it to Ukraine. They collect a lot of support, and they spread the information, they spread the news, what's happening in Ukraine. They all are ambassadors of Ukraine here in Dallas.
What are they asking of you, though?
Well, I'm ready to be of support for them in any official meetings and requests that they may have. And that's exactly what we do. We meet with officials, we meet with elected representatives, we meet with the companies that still doing business with Russia and ask them to stop that. But we also have a lot of companies here in Dallas as well that practically support Ukraine with donations for humanitarian assistance, and we very much thank those as well.
What can you tell us about the refugee effort here in North Texas? I know it could be some time, and there's a lot of Ukrainians who want to stay in Europe, but there still could be those who come here to stay with their family who are in Dallas. What are you hearing as far as coordinating efforts with groups here and the process for that?
Well, as of today, we heard the announcement of administration about the willingness to accept refugees for Ukraine. The details of that plan are still to be announced. So, but the community of Ukrainians here in Dallas and globally in Texas are ready to be of assistance for any refugees coming from Ukraine in providing shelter and support for them on the ground.
For the mayor, one of the things when we saw the general up in the colony yesterday, he talked about, we want the business to invest in Ukraine. Don't just give us charity, but stay long term. And so I guess for the mayor will be, talk about once this is all over, what a partnership like this can do to build the Dallas economy too, that businesses will then have a long-lasting connection to Ukraine.
Well, I've made no secret that I believe that part of Dallas's future growth is tied to increasing our connectivity to the world's economic system, and to increase foreign direct investment, trade, and commerce with foreign countries, and that we also believe that our local business community needs to become more diversified in an international way, and that includes Ukraine. So I don't believe that Dallas's future is solely tied to our local economy or this region's economy. I believe it's tied to the world's economy, and the Ukrainian economy is part of that. So yes, we would hope that this would be a way to launch a deepening of our ties, and we are talking actively right now about opening and increasing trade offices in Texas, specifically in Dallas, to help further and deepen those types of relationships that we already have, and to see those trade numbers with places like Ukraine go up. And so that's definitely on the agenda.
Thank you. I mean, maybe just add a few words. So, initial plan of Ukraine having a consulate general in Texas is to do business, because there is great potential to do business between Ukraine and Texas in so many areas, in energy, in medical sphere, in space, because Ukraine is one of the few space nations also globally. There are other dimensions in IT. There are other things we can discuss of doing business together. And after Ukraine wins this war, there'll be plenty of opportunities of doing business together. There'll be the need to reconstruct, to rebuild the country. And we would very much welcome all of the companies from Texas, from Dallas, to actively participate in this reconstruction process.
Energy would be another Texas area, would it not?
Of course.
How soon do you expect that Ukraine will be able to end this?
Well, I will not put any fixed date to that, but it will definitely happen, because there is no way the Russia's regime can win Ukraine, because Ukraine are fighting for their freedom and independence. The whole nation is united. There is no way how they can win over Ukraine. It's just a matter of time, and we will get there.
And Mayor, I just was curious, since the city's resolution, has anything changed with regards to the Russian companies that the city has done business with?
I'm not actually aware that we have any Russian business we have done business with. There were none to sever ties with upon our initial inquiry. The chief financial officer of the city issued a memo recently where I think she addressed issues related to pension holdings and things like that. And the business situation is such that I don't think there's anything to sever. But there's a small percentage of pension funds that have investments that have Russian connections that I think are being looked at by the investment managers to see what can be done there. But that's really the extent of the connectivity with Russia at this point.
Mr. Tarasiuk, have you been in your country recently since this started? Have you seen any of this with your eyes?
Well, I'm here in Texas since December last year. I didn't go back since then, but I have friends and relatives, of course, that are in Ukraine and fighting this war.
Do you hear certain things from them about family members or maybe some of your family who've been directly impacted?
Of course, all of the Ukrainians are affected right now. More than 10 million of Ukrainians are internally displaced people because they go from the places that are heavily affected by war, that are being shelled and bombed by the Russian army. And a lot of children already have been killed. It's more than 140 kids have been killed, a lot of them wounded. Thousands and thousands of Ukrainians are dead. So there is a huge humanitarian crisis on the ground, as I said. Everybody is affected.
We see these pictures, and it tears at everyone's heart to see beautiful cities destroyed and buildings where hundreds of people live shelled. It's terrible.
Look, Putin saw that he cannot win Ukraine militarily, and he started basically destroying the nation of Ukraine, destroying the Ukrainian infrastructure. This is a war against the nation of Ukraine. This is a genocide that Putin is doing in Ukraine, and he will have to answer for the crimes, and his army will have to answer for the crimes that they are doing right now in my country.
What you said, you mentioned some businesses that are still doing business with Russia. Is that your locally?
Well, there are some businesses that, like the company Kimberly-Clark, that's based in Irving. Well, they're suspending future investments, but still do the current operations. And we encourage all of the companies to cut the ties completely, at least until the aggression is over.
Did they say they will do that?
We'll see.
Thank you. We do want to
Yes.
present this resolution that we actually adopted. This is an official copy of it. I want to reiterate this has the effect of law once the city council has formally adopted something. So this is more than mere rhetoric. This is not only our sentiment, but this is our policy at this point. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much for being here today, but I want you to have a copy of it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I present you with the Ukrainian flag that you may have here in City Hall, in the Hall of Flags of the Nations, and I hope that Ukraine will be a proud member and nation across other nations here in this hall.
Well, God bless the sovereign nation of Ukraine, and we will display this proudly in our flag room. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Really appreciate you. Thank you.
Unfurl it
Yes.
and maybe a picture.